My wife keeps throwing divorce in my face over everything. I just agreed and left. I'm currently staying with my sister. My wife, 32F, and I have been together for 5 years, married for 4. We had known each other for years prior. We have one kid together who is 4. I, 28M, am the primary breadwinner in the house as she is a stay-at-home mom. It was her choice not to go back to work. For the last year and a half, we have been having arguments about 2 times a month. To be clear, I do help out with our daughter. I clean, cook, and am involved with both of them. The first time she said she wanted a divorce was when we got into an argument when my sister called and asked if she could stay with us for a bit as she was having relationship problems. Ironic. I said she could. My wife was not happy about that. I pointed out that her friend stayed with us a couple of months prior for 5 weeks and didn't do anything around the house. Plus, she was just there. No discussion, no nothing. She was a stranger to me and my daughter. My sister is lovely and has a great relationship with our daughter, and I thought my wife did as well. She ended up staying with us for a week, helping out around the house, cooking, cleaning, and watching out daughter when needed. I thought we both forgave each other and moved on. The fights are usually over, something small, 90%, are not started by me. I have suggested therapy and counseling, but she always said we never needed it. Well, I had it last night. She picked a fight saying I was spending too much time at work, and that she feels abandoned, and that I'm not a good father, ended her rant with, I want a divorce. I stood up and told her that the only reason I work so much is because she can't stop spending our money. Typing it out, it came out as my money on accident. We agreed to split the money into bills, future savings, future daughter, and fund money on things we don't need or use. She refused to get a job or go to school to help her out. I provide for the family, for my daughter. I'm always at my wife's important dates, functions, doctor's appointments, anything she needs. But she has refused to get help through therapy or counseling. I don't want this anymore. I'll have my lawyer send her the papers when she writes it up. I got my daughter's things and left with her to my sister's. It has been 2 days and she keeps calling and texting saying she is sorry. She didn't mean it. She wants to go to counseling and therapy. She needs me. She misses me, etc. I don't know what to do. I love her. She is a good mother, but I can't do this anymore. Internet strangers, please help. Yes, I have a lawyer for my family and work. I have known her since I was a teen. Update. Unfortunately, this is not a sunshine and rainbows update. To clarify some questions I've gotten, I'll refer to one of my comments on my original post. I want to point out some things that it seems was missed or looked over. I would do everything again if I had to, including taking my daughter. I have pushed my wife to go out, find a job, get a hobby, meet new friends, and do something, anything. Asked about seeing someone for help. She would not listen or consider anything I presented. She kept saying no, or that she was not the problem. My daughter is my priority. I don't fight with my wife in front of her or around her. I grew up in a bad household. I have been in the position where my dad got angry at my mom. My mom left, and my dad took it out on me. I don't ever want that for her. I don't know what my wife was going to do that night. You can't force someone to get help. They have to want it. Actually want it. If you force someone, they will go through the motions just to make it look like they changed. I'm not blameless in this, but I can't raise my daughter with her thinking this is okay behavior, or his is how relationships are supposed to be like. I decided when I was young that I would never be like my dad. Okay, so after I made my post, I had a bunch to think about. I decided that I had to make sure she knew how serious I was. We sat down, and I flat out told her that I couldn't do this anymore. The fighting and threatening of divorce has to stop. She agreed and said she would not say it. I told her that the next time it was thrown out, it would be the last time. We agreed to go to couples therapy. It was eye-opening. Things were said, feelings were brought up, and outside professional views helped us understand the other better. After a few sessions, I thought we were doing better. She started to apply herself more. She looked and obtained a job, made some friends, and got a hobby. That was until an argument started because we had plans in regards to our daughter that she overlooked and couldn't cancel the other plans she had made with some new coworkers. At what I considered the end of the argument, she said under her breath, I knew marrying you was a mistake. I looked at her, and the thing I remember most is how I did not recognize the woman that was standing there. She looked different to my eyes. I didn't know who the woman was in front of me was. I asked her to repeat herself. She said, I should have divorced you years ago. I walked away and took my daughter to the plans alone, just us two. I ended up filing for legal separation. Under the terms we both signed was something along the lines of, while separated, we are still legally married and will not get involved with anyone during this time period. Finances will be separated, but bills will stay as currently split. I would still pay for insurance through work. Other things that were in it were therapy sessions would continue both as individuals and couples. I would move in with my sister, and we had shared custody of our daughter, 70, me, 30, her. One day when I had my daughter, I needed my wife to take her. I let her know a week before, and she agreed. The morning of at 7:30, I went to drop her off at the house and noticed an unfamiliar car in the driveway. My first thought was, she must have a girlfriend over. I go ring the doorbell, out of respect, but still odd ringing your own doorbell, and wait with my daughter when a shirtless man who is about 20 opens the door and asks, "Who am I, and what do I want?" I ask for my wife, he calls her, and she comes around the corner in a robe, and her face goes from curious to shocked, to horrified, to sad. Needless to say, in 3 months' time, when the legal separation ends, I'm filing for a decree of dissolution of marriage. My daughter is safe. She doesn't understand what's going on other than daddy and mommy are not happy with each other. As stated above, she is my priority. I guess I did do the one thing I never wanted to do. The one thing I promised myself I would never become. But I guess it could be helped. I end up just like my parents. I don't know what a healthy relationship looks like. I hope I can just show how much love I have for my daughter and raise her the best I can.
I have known my parents were cheating on each other for years. They just found out and got mad at me. When I was 11, I saw my mom kissing one of her coworkers. Since I didn't know what to do or even who to ask, I ended up talking to that coworker. They worked at a sort of family restaurant, so I went there pretty often. And one day I just told him I knew about their thing and straight up asked what I should do. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I know he was really nice to me and advised I stayed quiet so as not to hurt my father. While it made sense to me, I spent around a year feeling bad for my father whenever I saw mom leave for work or stay there late. Then, one of the days mom stayed for the night at the restaurant, my father brought home another woman. It made me have a sort of epiphany. I started thinking that they knew, and after some very productive internet research, I figured they were simply in an open relationship. As I grew older, I realized this wasn't the case. The two pieces of shit somehow managed to put two and two together after years and noticed I knew, so they started using me to cheat more efficiently. From around my 15th birthday, they started trying to get me to make excuses for each other, ask one of them to go out for the day when they wanted the house alone, and even arrange meetings with their side pieces. They're both some of the stupidest people I have ever met, but they somehow believe they're geniuses. I think this is what brought them together. They enable each other. But it also meant they were so busy thinking they were cheating gods to realize the other was doing the same. At some point I stopped helping them, but I never said anything. It was such a normal thing that it never even crossed my mind telling them. Last year I started university and moved away, which meant they had to deal with each other on their own. I figured divorce was coming. Didn't expect them to last long without having me around to keep them at peace. You know the way two toddlers have to be kept under adult supervision to make sure they don't throw each other at oncoming traffic? That was what I had been doing ever since I remember, stopping them not only from making the other mad, but also separating them whenever they had a bad idea that the other would enable. I was right, they were going to divorce, and they decided to announce this at a family gathering a couple weeks ago. There was a very funny silence when they said it, and it was broken by them starting to fight and trying to get the other to look bad. My mother was oh so hurt by his cheating, and my father was oh so hurt by hers. I couldn't help but laugh. It was ridiculous. That shit looked like children acting in a kid's movie. When I pointed out that yes, I knew that they both had been doing it for more than 7 years, there was silence. They didn't find this one funny. They got so mad at me, started screaming that I ruined their marriage, that they could have worked it out if they knew sooner, that how could I have done this to them, blah blah blah. I left and just went to my apartment. I think they only found out about recent cheating and they might have been mad because I outed all those years. Plus apparently, quote, I've been playing both sides. These last 2 weeks since then I have been receiving calls from everyone in my family. A lot of them are just puzzled my parents would do that. Others know them and are telling me that they're sorry for me. It seems unanimous though, that I am an asshole for not saying anything earlier. Personally, I just think that they deserved it. You're telling me that they could peacefully cheat, but not be cheated on? It's wild. They're both idiots in many ways, and they're perfect for each other. The fact that they got divorced the moment they knew about the other cheating just proves me right. They wanted it to be hidden. They wanted it to be behind the other's back. Not one single other person in this world deserves to deal with either of this too. They need to stick together to keep them from hurting others. I don't really know what to do. They haven't talked to me at all in this 2 weeks. The only contact we've had has been through other people. I've never spent this long without talking to either of them.
Am I the asshole for telling a vegan that cheese and mayo contain animal products? This is a weird one. At least I think so. I was spending a few days on a trip in a cabin with a couple of friends. One of them I am acquainted with, but don't know too well. I just know that he doesn't eat meat and claims to be vegan. I don't care if he's vegan. People can eat how they want. I think his veganism comes from him never trying foods. He eats nothing but junk food and doesn't like meat or eggs or drinking milk because it comes from an animal and the texture is gross to him. Again, not my problem, his life. He eats Doritos and chips constantly. Lots of ramen noodles and mac and cheese. I don't think I've seen him eat a vegetable ever. I've never really seen his eating habits before this trip. First night we were deciding what to eat. A friend suggested pizza and he agreed. I said, keeping him in mind, I said we should make sure they have options with vegan cheese and meatless sauce. He was like, what? Cheese is okay to eat. It's not meat. I told him cheese is made from milk and he looked sick. He went on his phone and searched it up and was very upset. I thought this was common common knowledge. He said that he loves pizza and pretty much lives off pizza and that he eats tons of mac and cheese. I guess we were just assuming he had the vegan thing handled and ate vegan mac or that cheap Kraft's cheese that isn't even real cheese, so it didn't matter. The next day we were ordering food and we were telling our order to one person and they'd go out and pick it up. He was asking for a sandwich with just vegan cheese, onions, and mayo, and a side of fries. Disgusting.
Yo, what the fuck?
I said to make sure they have vegan mayo there. Big mistake. He was upset and asked why can't he eat mayo? I said mayo is made with eggs, and he got really pissed at me and said I am ruining all the good foods for him. At this point, I just stopped keeping him in mind. He made some other questionable orders of things with animal products, and I just didn't bring it up. He says I ruined food for him because he puts cheese and mayo on most things he eats. Called me an asshole. Am I the asshole?
If you put mayo on most things you eat, you're already off to a hot start being a fucking asshole. That's a little insane.
I thought mayo was milk. I didn't know it was eggs.
I mean, when you were saying the thing about mayo, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck mayo is, to be honest with
I
you.
don't either, really.
But I would assume that it's like
Creamy.
some sort of
White looking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The cheese thing is insane. What did you
Come
think it
on.
was? What did you think it was?
I want to know. I really want to
too.
know.
Also, that's like vegan 101, I feel like. Like, that's one of the easy ones.
Cheese, yeah. Personally, I get people that are vegan for like health reasons, but if it's an animal product that doesn't cause the animal pain, like eggs, like just taking a chicken's egg,
yeah.
why not eat those?
I don't know. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Not to mention the diet that was described. It's pizza and mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you just have diarrhea like all year
Constantly.
round. Like, what are you saying? That's so much fucking dairy.
Constantly. And the sandwich?
The sandwich is insane. Can you read the sandwich again?
A sandwich with just vegan cheese, onions, and mayo.
What even fucking... That's not a sandwich. Let's get that out of the way. Not a sandwich. This person clearly has some issues.
Today I fucked up by going in my wife's purse without asking. Today I fucked up. Well, late last night. I heard my wife's phone ringing in her purse. She was already in bed, so I reached in there and got it out to hand it to her. When I went to retrieve the phone, I also saw some candy in there. So I got the pack of candy out also and ate the small pack of about 11 pieces of Sour Patch Kids. I woke up about 3 a.m. in the morning having to use the bathroom. When I went to go to stand up, I felt really woozy. I thought this was because I was recently diagnosed with MS, and I thought it was a side effect of my MS. I stumbled onto the bathroom and I had to sit on the toilet just to pee. I get back to bed and I could not hold a coherent thought in my head. I'm thinking, oh my God, if MS is causing this confusion, there's no way I can live like this. My mind is steady racing. I wake up my wife and tell her how I feel. I tell her if I don't wake up or if I go crazy. Tell my kids I love them. She asked me if I want to go to the ER. I said no because my dad suffers from panic attacks and anxiety. He goes to the ER twice a week because of it. I was thinking maybe I might just be having a panic attack. I was like, my wife has good insurance on me, so if I die, they'll be taken care of. I finally fall back asleep. My wife wakes up to go to work the next morning. She asks, does she need to call in work and take me to the doctor? I told her no. She then walks to my side of the bed and sees the empty candy wrapper. Then she asks me, quote, did you eat my candy? I get a good look at the candy wrapper she's holding up since all the lights are on. I see her holding the empty wrapper of what I thought was Sour Patch Kid gummies. They were actually edibles called Stony Patch Kids. Then she starts laughing and says, that's what you get for going in my purse without asking me.
I knew it the second you started.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%.
Of course.
I've told my story.
I don't know if you have told your weird, like, jerky story. Jerky?
No. Dentist.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I knew that's what you're getting at.
Getting high at the dentist?
No, he got so high the night before that he woke up high still. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I don't know.
I thought it was candy. Literally the same thing.
I know.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's a lie.
No, it's not.
You knew they were gummies.
Yeah, I thought
you
that was
just
on
didn't.
purpose.
You thought they were old, and so they weren't working. So you took like 10 of them.
Jake told me potency goes down.
So you knew they were gummies.
Yes,
you just
but
thought they were.
Didn't think they were potent.
I believed.
Yeah, he thought they were like just candy at
I
that point.
believed that all the effects had gone away because, Jake's an expert in the field.
That's like my friend with coffee. She thinks that it sits out for 2 hours and there's no more caffeine.
Who thinks that?
Vanity.
Oh my God, that's not how that works.
I fucking hate my wife's bedtime routine and it's making me resent her. My wife claims she cannot fall asleep unless I scratch her back. The scratches have to be a very specific pressure, speed, distance, etc. If I don't do it right, she scolds me. If I refuse to do it at all, she becomes an uber cunt. It lasts a minimum of 20 minutes and sometimes longer than an hour. It takes my full, undivided attention. She is essentially demanding daily full body massages, except with my fingernails. Only it's not just daily. It's at night before we go to bed. If I get up early to spend time by myself but wake her up in the process, she'll make me come back to bed to scratch her. If she wants to take a nap midday, you guessed it, I have to lay down with her to scratch her. I do this shit 3 or more times a day pretty much every day. I cannot fucking stand this. I can never go to bed early. It doesn't matter how exhausted I may be. If I fall asleep first, she will wake me up to scratch her. If I'm so tired that I'm literally passing out as I'm attempting to scratch her, she will kick the bed and say my name to jolt me awake. If I had my way I'd be in bed at 10 p.m. on most nights. I do this shit 3 or more times a day pretty much every day. I cannot fucking stand this. I can never go to bed early. It doesn't matter how exhausted I may be. If I fall asleep first, she will wake me up to scratch her. If I'm so tired that I'm literally passing out as I'm attempting to scratch her, she will kick the bed and say my name to jolt me awake. If I had my way I'd be in bed at 10 p.m. on most nights. But I'm up until at least 1 a.m. every fucking day because I have to be awake to scratch her. And then she kicks me out of the bed to tend to the kids while she continues to sleep. But you guessed it, I have to come back and scratch her fucking back for a good 30 minutes. Between work, my kids, and doing normal things people do with their spouses, I have so very little time that I can spend on myself, and her stupid fucking routine has robbed me of thousands of hours of my life at this point. I can still remember the first time she invited me to do this. I was so fucking excited just to be touching her skin. Now it's become such a chore that I'm on the verge of telling her to go fuck herself, and I don't give a goddamn fuck how much you think you need this, I'm not doing it anymore.